Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be previewing some of the top picks for the 2023 Japan Pro as it is this weekend, November 26th, 2023 in Japan, in Tokyo, Japan, obviously. And we're not going to go through the entire lineup, but we will be going through some of my top picks, including Pavel Beran, Alfred Scherik, Theo Leguerrier, Shing Yan, Roman Fritz, and Viktor Bof. Those are some of the top names that have announced that they will be doing this show so far. So if you're interested in that style of content, definitely consider staying by and checking out the rest of this video. But if you're new here, I'm your host here on the Bodybuilding News Network, Josh Sanch. Thank you so much for stopping in. Consider subscribing, and let's go ahead and jump into the first athlete that is going to be on the scorecard, and that's going to be Alfred Scherik. Now, Alfred is one of these guys that has a lot of muscle. He's got a lot of density, and I think honestly, when you look at what he's been able to do in the open division this year, I think is an absolute success for him and his team. Now, the question is, and I'm sure you're wondering, and I've been wondering myself too, is when we look at Alfred Scherik, what are some of the things, especially since he just did Romania, what are some of the things that we need to see from him in order for him to jump up in placings and be in that 1, 2, 3 conversation? Now, he doesn't have a problem being 4 through 8. I would say that if he ever jumps into any show, he's automatically going to be in that conversation for that 4, no pun intended, for the 4 through 8 place finish, just based off of the level of musculature he has and also the decent, very good level of conditioning that he does bring. Now, I will say that he needs to improve upon the back and also continue to maintain that really nice taper. Overall, looking at some of the photos he has on his Instagram that I can't particularly share here on YouTube as I might get flagged, he looks very, very conditioned. And I'm very excited to see exactly what he brings to the Japan Pro in just under 4 days. The 26th will be on a Sunday. So the Pro Show will be on Sunday. So make sure you guys are paying attention to that. But of course, best of luck to Alfred Scherik. Theo Leguerrier is the next guy coming into the show, one of the prides of France when we look at men's open bodybuilding, and he did very well, I think, for himself at the Mr. Olympia just recently, and it's not the first time he's done the Mr. Olympia. He has been there at least one more time before there, so the guy's been doing the work, especially in the offseason, to continue to put the muscle on. He has ladies and gentlemen, he has one of the nicest flows, one of the nicest structures, and also one of the prettiest posing routines that you will ever see when it comes to the men's open bodybuilding division. His transitions are phenomenal, and when you look at the guy, besides having a good-looking face, I'm not going to lie, he's a good-looking dude. The muscle is good as well, and he has a lot of muscle that he's been able to put on, like I said just a second ago. Now, Theo, in my opinion, is going to be an absolute top 3 pick for this show. And debatably, maybe 1 or 2 of these guys might be able to push him. But I would say that between him and one other person are going to be my picks for 1 and 2. Stay tuned for more. Of course, we'll give you more breakdowns on my predictions. But best of luck to Theo Leguerrier. And in the third person we've talked about on this lineup so far is Shouming Yan, or Yan Ling, out of China. This guy absolutely blew up this year. He's done an absolute phenomenal job. I've mentioned it a few times. EP09's favorite athlete. The guy brings so much muscle to the stage, and honestly, he continues to improve upon the conditioning. And I would say that is the main critique here. He is essentially what, I don't want to compare him to Big Ramy, but when you look at Big Ramy, the thing that we always critiqued him for was he just needs to show up in shape. And I'll say the same thing for Shouming Yan, is he needs to bring some crazy level of conditioning to really wow the judges, because he has the musculature, he has the density, and he has the proportions. He's absolutely freaky. And the question is, and a lot of you have said it before, is can this guy hop into the 212? And I can't say for sure that he can right now, but I definitely think that it's not outside of the possibility or the world of possibility if he does continue to work on the conditioning and bring in a tighter package. That's at the end of the day, that's what I think is going to do him a great service, a great justice. And I really do expect to see him. I'm going to put him in the top 4 for this show. And next up, so of course, best of luck to Shouming Yan. Roman Fritz is the next gentleman coming into this show, an Olympian, a top competitor in any pro show that he goes into. He will always be in that conversation. One of the guys that always brings amazing conditioning and great flow, great structure. He's going to be in that conversation here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to put him in 1 or 2 based off of what we've seen from him before, and also his consistency of bringing that detail and that level to his physique on stage, time in and time out. Now, I will say that the one critique that I have for Roman Fritz is that he needs to improve upon the muscle density and 3D effect when we look at the back department, the upper to mid trap zone. I think the rear delts and the rhomboids and the lats are actually quite well developed if you look at the posing routine in the video now. But when it comes to the traps, the upper and mid trapezes, that's where it needs a little bit more pop, a little bit more density to add some extra wow factor to that physique. Besides that, the guy is phenomenal. I'm really excited to see him at the Japan Pro, and I'm going to put him in my top 2. Viktor Bof is the second to last competitor that we're going to talk about. This is not the complete list. We will do a complete list in just a few more days, as I do want to give some athletes the opportunity to jump in if they do decide to. And the last time we saw Viktor Bof outside of he was at the Olympia, I do believe. I don't remember seeing him. I didn't remember seeing his table, but we did see him at the Legion Sports, and we did see him at the Chiriac Classic France. And the footage that I have here is some backstage footage before prejudging at the Legion Sports last year. And I thought he looked very, very good, very consistent to what we've seen from him, where he really blew up on the scene at the Arnold Classic South America, aka the Arnold Classic Brazil. I think he looked phenomenal there. Great structure. He's got a lot of nice muscle to him. He needs just a tad bit more pop. And I do wonder if he were to bounce into the 212, if that would be something that would be writing a success story for him. As when you look at him, I saw a picture on his story of him standing next to Terrence Ruffin, who won that Legion Sports Festival this year. They looked height-wise very comparable. And Terrence is a very small gentleman. No offense, Air Force guy, love him to death. But when you look at his height, he's not the tallest fella on the stage. And when you compare those two next to each other, it really does create a conversation where if he were to hop in the 212, and heck, same for Shouming Yan, if both of them jumped into the 212, what would that do for their careers? What would that do for their placings? That's my question. I'll leave it there, but best of luck to Viktor Bof. I think he's definitely a top 6, top 8 competitor in this current lineup. And last but certainly not least, I would say my dark horse pick as of now, looking at the lineup, is going to be Pavel Beran, who just did the Prague Pro, and we did get to see him a little bit side by side with Samson Dauda. He also did a little bit of the pose down, but I'm not going to include that just because the footage jumps around really bad, and it's just it's kind of a headache, ladies and gentlemen. But I did include this nice front shot of him, really great detailed quality. The watermarks in the corner, if you want to look up that photographer, I think he did a great job with this shot. Ronnie CZ is actually the guy's name on Instagram, Ronnie.cz. So go ahead and give him a follow. I'll do it right now just so I don't forget. But those are some of my top picks for the 2023 Japan Pro this November 26th in Tokyo, Japan. I'm your host here on the Bodybuilding News Network, Josh Sanch. Please consider subscribing and leaving some suggestions for some upcoming videos, especially the Contender Series, where we put athletes side by side and compare and contrast their physiques. Again, I'm your host here on BNN, Josh Sanch. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.